Good morning, students. Here I will discuss about the third unit. The third unit says, that is the February Revolution. Here the February Revolution, under this we will know about how and why this revolution occurred in February. Do you know, children? Russian Revolution occurred twice. Once in February, that is why it is called February Revolution, and second time it is called October Revolution because it happened in October. First part we'll see why it happened in February, that is called the February Revolution. So the question is why? Let us analyze the causes. You know that in the winter of 1917, conditions of the capital, that is in Petrograd, were very serious. The layout of the city seemed to emphasize the divisions among its people. Means there was a division among its people. Number one, how it were divided? The workers' quarters and factories were located on the right bank of the river Neva, whereas in the left side or left bank there were fashionable areas, the Winter Palace that already have written, and official buildings. Here you can see that I have written that one side on the right bank of the river Neva, workers' quarters and factories, whereas in the other side, that is palace, official buildings, Winter Palace, Duma, etc. are there. So this is the layout of the capital city Petrograd. Means how there was division between some of the group of people. Similarly, in second reason what we are going to discuss, that is in February 1917 there were shortage of food. This is called the situation in the city. Shortage of food, then there was a bad weather, winter was very cold, then Tsar Nicholas was having a desire to dissolve Duma. Therefore, the parliamentaries were not happy with this. So, this was the situation in in the city. Let us see the next part. What happened next is the question. On 22nd February, a lockout took place at a factory on the right bank. The next day, workers in 50 factories called a strike in sympathy. So 22nd February there was a lockout at a factory locked out, then strike did by the workers, and in many factories women, particularly women, led the way to strikes. That means many women also headed the strikes. These days came to be recognized as International Women's Day because the women they led the strike. Therefore, this day was celebrated. That 22nd February was celebrated as the International Women's Day. But there was a question arise that it was celebrated on 8th March. You know it because according to our calendar, here I have written because what is the reason? Russian calendar. This you can see. This is the reason. Russian calendar was 13 days behind of normal calendar what we follow. So that is why according to this it is falling. So 22nd means it is falling, that is 8th March what we celebrate. Then later what happened? Demonstration reached to the center of the capital, Nevsky Prospect. Then demonstrating workers crossed from the factory quarters or to the center of the capital. That is center of the capital. Which one? The Nevsky Prospect. There what happened? At this stage no political party was actively organizing the movement. So as the workers reached, their government imposed curfew. So demonstrators dispersed by the evening, but they came back on 24th and 25th. Then the government called out the cavalry and police to keep an eye on them. So these were the situation arise during this time. First demonstration dispersed, then they again came back 24th and 25th. Then police and cavalry was appointed to keep an eye or check to them. Now the question arises. Here the question arises, how did this revolution outbreak? Now let us analyze in the next slide. We'll see this outbreak of February Revolution, means how the February Revolution it was broke out. On 25th February 1917, Tsar Nicholas II suspended Duma. So what happened on 25th February? The government suspended Duma, that is Tsar's the government, and politicians spoke out against this measure. Many politicians criticized this. This resulted, many politicians criticized this. Demonstrations returned on the street on 26th. Then due to this criticism done by politicians, then again demonstrations, all demonstrators, they returned on the street on 26th. That means all people, they gathered on the street on 26th. Then what happened on 27th? On 27th, police headquarters were ransacked. Protest for bread, wages, better works, wages and democracy. So on the 27th, the police headquarters were ransacked. Streets were gathered with people raising slogans about bread, wages, better hours and democracy. So the government tried to control the situation and called out the cavalry once again. Then Tsar Nicholas II called out the cavalry to control this situation. So here is the question arise after 27th, that what did the government do at that time? Here is the question arise. What did the government do at that time? Now government, therefore at that time government called the cavalry to control the situation. But the cavalry refused to demonstrate. Why is the question? Because they themselves mixed with the normal people and also protested against the autocratic government. That is called mutiny. However, the cavalry refused to fire on demonstrations. An officer was shot at the barracks of regiment and 3 other regiments mutinied. That is called mutiny. Then voting to join the striking workers. So soldiers and striking workers formed Soviet. Soviet means what? The council. Council means group of people. So by the evening what happened? By that evening soldiers and striking workers, they formed the Soviet or council that time. Then a delegation or group of people went to the king or the autocratic government, that is Tsar Nicholas II, and that time what he decided, Tsar military commander advised him to abdicate. Then all this delegation, they went to him and told that you have to be abdicated, means refused to join as a government. So at last this monarchical government was abolished on 2nd March. The very next day, I have told that the very next day a delegation went to see the Tsar and military commanders advised him to abdicate. Just now I told. He followed their advice and abdicated on 2nd March. Soviet leaders and Duma leaders formed a provisional government to run the country. So when he abdicated, what happened next? After this, Soviet leaders and Duma leaders formed a provisional government. Then Constituent Assembly on the basis of universal adult franchise, that is suffragette, was formed, and finally February Revolution brought down the monarchy. So in this way the February Revolution brought down the monarchical government. That means there was the collapse of ruling of Tsar Nicholas II. So Petrograd had led the February Revolution that brought down the monarchy in February 1917. In the next slide we will see how and what happened after the February Revolution. As you have seen in this entire thing, I have drawn out the flowchart just to make you understand better. So kindly go through it.